Ah, Monster Hunter World. The beautiful, vast ecosystem bustling with life, big and small, that may or may not try to either kill you or send you back to Morrowind with monsters behaving like goddamn bomber jets. I started playing the game in 2019 and followed up with the Iceborne expansion in 2020, and yet, only now, in the second half of 2022, I have gotten platinum trophies for both. Because yes, both base game and the expansion have their separate trophy lists. So, was I just lazy? Or did something actually keep me from getting both of these? Why was I stuck at 82% on the trophy list for both for the longest time? Join me on the 4-year journey to finally get the soul-sucking platinum trophies for Monster Hunter World and the Iceborne expansion. I am Sparrow, and welcome to the Gaming Nest. Let's start by looking through the base game first. Finishing the story is par for the course. Some would even call it a tutorial for the actual game itself. It's gonna take a few hours. During this, the optional quest trophy will probably pop up too, and the investigations, just trust me on that one. Just yes, I will explain later. Arena quests can be tedious, but it's nothing too impossible, just time consuming. Capturing the rarest endemic life is also time consuming, but with a bit of luck and perseverance. It can be done in several hours at worst. Tempered monsters is pretty much an endgame activity if you want to prepare for Iceborne, and this can go hand in hand with researching monsters to the max, capturing and hunting monsters. It's in the name of the game, like, come on. I admit, these numbers may look big, but by the time you finish the story, the optional quests, some events and investigations, you should have more than half of it. Multiplayer trophies, it's just like the endemic life trophies. It's time consuming, but nothing too terrible. Completing quests via multiplayer, firing SOS flare and helping others is pretty chill activity. But getting enough guild cards can be annoying, especially since people don't seem to like sending them unless you send them first. However, if you do it together with the 100 quests in multiplayer, you should net yourself these multiplayer trophies pretty quickly. And finally, Hunter rank 100. That's just playing the game, and if you go for the platinum, you will get that easily. Okay, that wasn't too bad, so maybe Iceborne. And just like before, finishing the main storyline, playing through the guiding lines a little, capturing the rare endemic life. Crafting the strongest armor and weapons. That's almost the same things you had to do in the base game. However, Iceborne also added a few new things like treasures that requires you to level up various cat tribes. Yeah, that definitely takes some time and reloading locations. I swear at least a tenth of my playtime was spent on those goddamn loading screens. Room decorations come easily with progression and events. Steamworks is your go-to place for a lot of resources. Requests for the lenient researcher can be chipped down in a few hours. And yeah, nothing looks too bad so far. Remember Hunter rank 100? Well, Iceborne added the Master rank. But no, you don't need to reach a rank 100, that would be absurd. Another multiplayer trophy, researching, capturing, slaying, yada yada yada. Okay, none of this sounds too hard. Time consuming, yes, of course, but why then... People who have suffered through this hell or know the trophy list will know that I skipped a few trophies. The very trophies that sucked the soul and existence out of my living, breathing body. 2 words. Crown trophies. These 4 are from the base game, and these 2 come from Iceborne, and they aren't too bad. If you're especially lucky, there is a chance you will unlock them by the time you finish both storylines and most of the optional quests. However, these 4 are the definition of pain, suffering, and misery. There are 28 monsters from the base game and additional 26 monsters from Iceborne, plus 2 that were in the base game but weren't required for the base game trophy. So 56 different monsters. 2 crowns each. 112 separate crowns to be earned, each with incredibly low odds of even dropping. Granted, there are a few monsters excluded from that list, namely Zora Magdaros, Zinejiva, Safijiva, Shora Ishvalda, Leshan, Ancient Leshan, Behemoth, Kulftarov, Raging Brachydios, Alatrion, and Fatalis. And there are 4 monsters, Stygian Zinogre, Rajang, Furious Rajang, and Frostfang Buriot, that don't need crowns despite having them. And there also exists large silver crowns, but these are worthless. Only large or golden crowns and miniature crowns are what matter. However, not all 112 crowns are left to the complete mercy of Lady Luck. Let's break it down. 15 crowns are guaranteed from certain event quests, and another 4 can be received from quests where you have a 50% chance for either of the crowns. And if you're playing on PS4, you can add these 3 crowns because of Horizon Zero Dawn collaboration quests. A vast majority of the crowns, a whopping 67, can be farmed in multi-monster hunts. There are event quests that require you to slay 5 monsters, and all have names related to music. Effluvial Opera, Alt Rock Recess, Coral Waltz, Yodeling in the Forest, and so on and so forth. Each monster in those quests has a 12% chance to be either a golden or a miniature crown. And here's where the RNG and Lady Luck begin to show. 12% is pretty high, so you can net them all sooner or later. So where does it leave us? 26 crowns left to chance. In the absolute best case scenario, there can be 6% for either crown. Remember? The investigations, just trust me on that one. Just yes. When there are 4 or 5 gold or purple boxes, that is a 6% for either crown. However, most of the investigations, having 1 silver and 1 golden reward, 1 bronze and 3 golden rewards, or just 3 purple rewards, have a 6% for a miniature crown and only 3% for a golden crown. These are the monsters that will require the grind. 26 out of 112. Not even a fourth of all crowns, and yet this is what probably will take the most time and cause the most suffering. Just to make things clear, all quests have a chance of spawning a crowned monster, but in most cases it's a meager 2% for a miniature crown and 1% for a golden crown. These are absolutely abysmal rates. 6% doesn't seem too bad when you think about it, right? Even if it's only half the chance of multi-monster hunts. However, hell no. If, going by that measure, 1 in roughly 16-17 monsters was crowned, then it would still be a long journey. As you will soon see, that wasn't the case at all. If you asked me how painful it was, I will put it in the easiest words possible. I would rather platinum every single From Software game, starting from Demon's Souls again, fully offline and grinding everything. I would rather solo every single monster in the pre-patched versions. I would rather go for every unique layered armor and weapon than spend such arduous amounts of time on hunting the crowns ever again. before we proceed any further, you can significantly cut the time spent on crown hunting by save scamming, measuring monsters. On channels like Gaming with Abyss, you can see how to properly measure each monster to save you impossible amounts of time. So, why did this stubborn dumbass decided to not do this and try to do this organically, let's say? Well, I like the gameplay loop, that's for one, and curiosity has gotten the better of me. I wanted to taste and see the pain I've only heard about so far. I researched the investigations, that's information in the previous section, but Monster Hunter veterans, I hope you won't suffer too much from me not using a radial wheel, not using dunk pods, flash pods, or optimizing everything to a T. I prepared this set right after Fatalis farming, so it's been a long while and it's unedited. But it served me quite well for all the time I crown hunted. It was mostly optimized. Why mostly? Come on, it's a 4-piece Fatalis set. That health boost is absolutely useless. And negative defense against dragons may have been a little problematic, but other than that, it's been serving me really well. I'm just happy I didn't farm all of these crowns in one go, or all of the trophies for that matter. I was hopping in and out of the game regularly for 4 years, with my very first trophy being in 2019. And each time I returned to the game, I was slowly chipping away at the platinum. Treasures here, research there, endemic life somewhere along the way, until I was left with just the crown trophies. So I sat down at the start of September this year with a mind to finish it off. The screams of Skarti and Garuga are engraved into my mind, and just because I could slay Nergigante or Valhazak in less than 5 minutes, didn't mean much. Multi-monster hunts were a blessing because I could slay the beast and just return from quest. This is probably the only time saver I used to save my sanity. Wait on the loading screen, accept the quest again, wait for the quest to load, and wait for another loading screen to pass. I swear sometimes it felt like I was taking more time in this process of loading, accepting and loading than it was taking to start the hunt and return from the quest. The less crowns there were to get, the harder Lady Luck was holding me back. After 10 hours of farming without seeing a single new crown, losing hope, and reconsidering my life choices at least 3 times, I have finally seen it. The smallest Viper Toby I have laid my eyes upon, and if that wasn't the miniature crown, then I guess I would literally have to fight a micro-sized Toby to get it. However, I was right. A new, beautiful, shining piece of gold right next to its size. It was the proof I needed that these crowns do exist and aren't a figment of my imagination. And don't even get me started on a situation when I was fighting any given monster, finished the hunt, and noticed a crown, full of excitement and glee, that turned into dismay and disappointment when, upon looking at the list of crowns I have yet to get, it turned out I already had this crown! How is this possible? Monsters have around 35 to 38 different sizes that they can spawn in. The 3 smallest and 3 highest are respectively fit for a miniature and large crown. So even though I already had the miniature crown for that monster, it's entirely possible that it wasn't the absolutely smallest possible out there. And that happened more than once during all this time. And monsters like Banbaro are even more annoying to hunt because just look at your average Banbaro, he's huge no matter what! And yeah, sure, it may be somewhat easy to spot a miniature because the hulking mass isn't that hulking, but usually, most of the time I hunted Banbaro, I was sure that, yep, that's a crown. Only to realize that, nope, it was your most average Banbaro on this side of the New World. There were so many things I could have been doing. Playing Devil May Cry 5 again, getting through Bloodborne for the umpteenth time, popping up long not played Enter the Gungeon, or even putting myself to even more dynamic suffering with Crash 4, and yet I kept going. Because I knew that if I give up crown hunting now, I will not want to come back to finish this anytime soon. As I was wrapping up the crowns possible to get from 12% chance multi-monster hunts, I never thought that these two will give me such a hard time. 12%. Do you want to know just how much Banbaros and Radobans I've slain to get the crowns? 56 and 62 respectively. 62! Cruel, but the worst part was the knowledge that it probably isn't the worst, because the odds will become even lower from now on, and monsters I will be facing will usually be in full strength. Because in multi-monster hunts they seem to be weaker, as to give you a fair chance of defeating 5 of them in 50 minutes. However, sometimes Lady Luck will kiss you on the neck and you will get more than one crown during a single hunt. After playing around and mixing investigations with event quests, I ran out of high chance crowns, and I was left with 15 crowns. So I decided to tackle the singular crowns first, namely Large Kushala Daora, Miniature Kirin, and Large Scarred Iangaruga. Do you know just how demotivating it was to see not one, but 2 silver crowns for Kushala Daora, on top of one I already had from the past! Just when you think you have a massive Kushala, the game says, yeah, it was big, just not big enough. You start coping out of your mind. After the 3rd silver crown, I gave up for the day. I didn't want to deal with this shit today anymore. But alas, I returned tomorrow and started a hunt for Kushala, you guessed it. And yeah, it was quite huge, I admit, but knowing the copium and hopium coursing through my veins, I wasn't getting my hopes up, but there it was. On the very first hunt of the day, a shining golden crown. Another glimmering ray of hope in this utterly arduous task. Rejuvenated, I continued. And the very same day I received a miniature Kirin crown. After only 77 Kirins! Radovan, you've been dethroned. And from the singular crowns, there was only Scarred Iangaruga to deal with. And I need to talk about 2 things first. First, what is the point of Scarred Iangaruga? It barely differs from the regular version, it's only tempered, so it's basically a tempered Iangaruga, so why does it have separate hands, crowns, and everything? Imagine if every monster worked that way. You hunted Rathalos or Diablos and received both of the crowns? Good. Now go hunt the very same monster, but tempered and with their own separate crowns. Go on, deal with Scarred Rathalos or Scarred Diablos. That would be infuriating. And second, investigation randomness. Whenever you break a monster's part or gather some tracks, you have a chance of getting an investigation. The problem? The investigation isn't for that particular monster. It can be for every monster of that region. So you could hunt 10, 15, 20 Lunastras in a row, get like 30 investigations, and maybe 1 or 2 of them would be for Lunastra. In the case of Scarred Iangaruga, it's even worse. It's tempered, and during all of this Scarred Iangaruga hunting, you'll learn soon just how much it took. I've seen the dedicated investigation maybe twice. However, remember investigation requirements? When there are 4 or 5 gold or purple boxes, that is a 6% for either crown. Or just 3 purple rewards have a 6% for a miniature crown and only 3% for a golden crown. Yeah, out of these 2, none fit the criteria. Scarred Iangaruga had only 1 event quest, barely any chance to get an investigation, and overall utterly miserable chances to get a crown. That being said, shout out to the lucky person who has gotten both in just 4 tries. I have gotten 1 in 4, but the second... yeah, we'll get there. After hours and days of unsuccessful Scarred Iangaruga hunts, over 50 repetitions of the event quest, the best I have seen was the Silver Crown. Eventually I decided to suck it up and go to the Guiding Lens. Monster Hunter World community may eat me up alive or not, but I don't really like it. I spent around an hour to boost the forest region to level 6, because only then the scarred Iangaruga spawns, and I crafted as much Iangaruga lures as I possibly could and went for the hunt. After 4 days of exclusively fighting that stupid chicken, there it was, the shining virtue I desired for so long. I never want to look at this stupid face ever again! Just to be clear, you know why I wasn't pissed at 77 currents that much? Because that was the monster available in high rank or in base game, meaning roughly 4 or 5 minutes per hand, not 15 minutes in 70 attempts. However, if you think 77 currents and 70 scarred Iangarugas is a lot. Another shout out to this post on Reddit, where someone has hunted over 300 currents without getting a golden crown. Kudos to you, my friend. I hope you finally got it. And well, sometimes when farming, silly things like that would happen.
Okay, I pull up.
After all that, after countless hunts and hours I will never recover, I was left with 6 monsters and 12 crowns. And for the record, so far I have slain 27 Nergigantes, 32 Lunastras, 27 Valhazags, 23 Namielfs, 20 Gold Raffians, and 21 Silver Raffaloses. The final stretch before Platinum, 3 monsters for each rank, 6 crowns. Hunt after hunt after hunt, I was seeing no crowns, losing my mind and hope again. And yet, I didn't want to give up. If I was going to give up, I may as well have given up over 100 hours ago. Every crown I would see from now on would bring me ever closer to the goal. Let's do it. However, I severely underestimated just how cruel Lady Luck can be. I want you to take a wild guess how many hunts cumulatively I have done while still lacking these few crowns. 700? 900? 1000 perhaps? Almost. 1400. And I was still not done! At a certain point, the copium levels started to get a bit too high, so the hunts were looking more like this. Alright, that Raffalos looks quite huge, so that will probably out of the way. Silver crown. And the cruel twist of fate continued on to the very next hunt, where I thought that this Raytheon is suspiciously small. Indeed, it was. The record indicated that I wasn't mistaken. But, as you guessed it, it wasn't small enough. As with Kushala back in the day, I have given up. I will come back to this tomorrow. To my surprise, I have gotten the large crown for a gold Raytheon surprisingly quickly. But okay, that was just a dumb stroke of luck, that doesn't mean anything. The luck was short-lived, as it took another few long days to finally see another crown. This time, miniature crown for gold Raytheon. 1 monster down, 5 to go. After days of swearing I have seen the smallest and biggest silver Raffalos possible, the hope was waning again. So far I have been killing gold Raytheon and silver Raffalos interchangeably. However, with one now out of the question, I had replaced it with Lunastra. Once these 4 crowns would finally be achieved, it would be an easy go, cause I genuinely love the rest of the fights. But for now, feast your eyes upon this. I could have sworn to everything I love that this was a crowned Raffalos, this too, but time and time and time again it was for nothing. One beautiful Sunday started as usual. Monsters seemed too big, too small, as copium was still coursing through my veins. I wasn't getting my hopes up, especially not after getting 50 silver Raffaloses without seeing a single necessary crown. I started yet another set of hunts as usual, swapping silver Raffalos and Lunastra, until I finally encountered a surprisingly massive silver Rathalos, but now I was much more skeptical. I wasn't impressed. However, to my very pleasant surprise, this one yielded fruits. Satisfied, with the faint flame of hope still lingering, I continued. And lo and behold! 2 silver Rathalos hands later, I have gotten a miniature crown! Over 50 fruitless attempts, only for both of these crowns to come in less than 5 hands total. Lady Luck is a cruel mistress. With that, we had 4 monsters and 8 crowns to go. I decided to change Silver Rathalos hands to Nergigante. Few hands later, boom! Miniature crown for Nergigante. These were 3 crowns in one session. This was an incredibly blessed day. I ended it with several crowns still to get. You can see the relief and happiness here. I had a lot of Silver Rathalos investigations still once I have gotten both crowns. I was also prepared for a quite long Valhazak farming with pretty much 2 full pages of investigations. However, before that, let's deal with Nergigante and Lunastra, shall we? And from the crown perspective, there were only Elder Dragons left to be slain. The following day started as always, lots of hands and no crowns, and my strong desire to farm up some high-rank Lunastra investigations so I don't have to lose my mind against the Master rank variant was strong. Doing the Blue Prominence optional quest, which has a 50% chance to spawn Kushala and 50% to spawn Nergigante along with Lunastra, can be helpful in gathering way more tracks and investigation. Or if you're just incredibly lucky, get a crown from these quests, who knows? I unfortunately wasn't so lucky, so after a few tries I managed to get 2 Lunastra investigations that fulfill the crown requirements. During this I managed to get a miniature crown for Lunastra, as well as a gold crown for Nergigante when swapping between the 2. 5 crowns to go. If you ever need to farm high rank base game Elder Dragons, be sure to look for 8-star optional quests. Kushala, Kirin, Teostra, Lunastra, Valhazak, Nergigante, all of them can be found and farmed here. And after, wait for it, 95 slain Lunastras, a golden crown has finally popped for her. After almost 100, sweet cheese. We were now left with 4 final crowns. Final 2 monsters, Valhazak and Namiel. Each new crown would now net us a different trophy. We were on a definitive final stretch. After exhausting weeks, countless hours, the end was finally in sight. It was time for one final push. For both of those I had plenty of investigations, so for the last time I had hoped that Lady Luck would smile upon me and grant me the necessary crowns. The hunt was on. But, as we learned more than once so far, Lady Luck was cruel. She has given me the smallest Namiel, but no, she wasn't small enough, and a silver crown on top of that just to tease me. However, fortunately, after a few more investigations, there it was. An absolute unit of an Elder Dragon with a golden crown and... wait, no medal or trophy? Turns out you have to have a base game version of the trophy / medal first to get an Iceborne one. It is quite logical when you think about it, but if you also think that I had any logic left in me after over 3 weeks of straight crown hunting. I looked at Valhazak and nodded. Let's put a cap on the base game platinum. Instantly, after a large Namiel, I noticed a quite huge Valhazak, but at this point, I really should have known better than that to get my hopes up. Because, yes, it was huge, but as always, not huge enough. It took another few tries to finally get a large crown and both respective trophies and medals for the base game and the Iceborne expansion. we were at 91% on both trophy lists, after long months of being stuck at 82%, closer than ever to crowns. 2 hands later, I've noticed a quite small Valhazak, but yet again, it was just Lady Luck tempting me and laughing straight at my face. I wasn't mistaken, it was pretty small, but not small enough, as we learned so many times in this one video. Several hands later, there finally was a miniature crown for Valhazak and the first of the 2 platinums. I don't really understand why they didn't show me the unlocked medal, but I assure you, the trophy is here, as well as the medal. There was only one final crown left to wrap up this long journey. Miniature Namielle. Whatever it takes, I will get it. I didn't back off at any point, not at triple Kushala silver crown, not at 4 days of scarred Iangaroga hands, not at 95 Nastras, and not at the constant almost big enough and almost small enough teases by the game. I won't back down now. I'm gonna make a graveyard full of Namielles if need be. I turned off the game to go on with my day, but later in the evening I came back to keep hunting Namielles. I stretched for the first hunt of the night. I'm gonna sit here all night if I have to. I'm gonna... Wait, that's it? Can you imagine my surprise when at the first hunt of the 9 I was blessed with the miniature crowned Namielle and the second platinum. I was surprised, but oh so relieved. We were finally done with this arduous task. Last few weeks have been focused strictly on crown hunting, so let's summarize some things. Is it 100% completion of the game itself? Hell no! There are still few leftover linear researcher requests, various armor sets and weapons to craft, a lot of which I could probably do right now due to the excessive crown hunting. Final few crowns that weren't needed for the trophy. Am I going to do it all? Probably not! Will I still come back to this game? Probably yes! It's still loads of fun. Fighting my favorite monsters can still be just as challenging as it is fun. And considering the rank limits for the Hunter and Master rank are 999, it's far from what someone could consider a 100% in-game completion. But yeah, I think I've put enough hours into this game as it is. Let's take our statistics from earlier and see just how they changed after the final 12 crowns. 27 Nergigantes turned to 49, 32 Lunastras to 95, 27 Valhazaks to 47, 23 Namielles to 43, 20 Gold Raytheons to 45, and finally 21 Silver Rathaloses to 56. After everything was said and done, we were standing at just shy of 660 hours, 1,565 quests, 1,893 hunted monsters, 357 of which have been captured. If we exclude monsters that lacked or didn't require crowns, it's still 1,805 hunted monsters and 327 captured ones. However, to be entirely honest, considering that this was my main save file with lots and lots of unsuccessful solo Alatrion hands, Fatalis, Ancient Leshen or Extreme of hands, farming unique weapons like Tuna Greatsword, Drunken Daggers or Guild Palace Rifle and much more, as well as countless layered armor sets, I'm gonna do an estimate correction that if this was completely focused on Platinum, with nothing else, I think it would still take around 500 hours, around 11 or 1200 completed quests, around 13 to 1500 hunted monsters, and around 250 to 300 captured monsters. Not big difference and in no way 100% accurate, but one way or another it would take an incredibly long amount of time anyway. Would I ever do it again? Let me put it up again in the gentlest way possible. I would rather platinum every single From Software game, starting from Demon's Souls again, fully offline and grinding everything. I would rather do Pantheon of Hollowness in Hollow Knight several times back to back to back, or do literally anything else than this. These two were the most time-consuming, grind-focused, and luck-based platinums I had to get in my entire life. Hell, getting these two took me more time than the entire FromSoft catalog. That's insane! I haven't touched Monster Hunter Rise yet, as I don't have the means to, but maybe one day, if I do, and I love the game, I will... Oh no. No. Okay, so, nope, nah. I think I'll just enjoy the game and won't bother getting a platinum there, as it looks, as it could take even more than 700 hours. To anyone who, even after watching this entire video and listening to all of my pain, still wanting to put themselves through this arduous journey of getting an Iceborne Platinum. First of all, why? Can I help you somehow? I'm not gonna stop you, but just why? Alright, I guess the best I can do is give you a few tips and tricks to make your suffering easier. First of all, do what I was too stubborn to do. Measure monsters. It's gonna save you a ton of time in an already drawn out journey. Take every chance you can. Guaranteed quests, multi-monster hunts, shorten your time as much as you can. Even if you're lacking full good engine, for example, I would still say it's more worth to go on a 5-monster hunt, slay Great Gyros or Odogaron, then full Granjanath and return. Speaking of which, return from quests. Do not abandon them. If you need only 1 or 2 monsters in a multi-monster hunt, returning will save you a ton of time. Save scamming can be a good way to go about it if you have the best possible investigation, considering monster sizes are randomized. And if after X amount of investigations you don't have the crown, load back a previous save and repeat. These 4 can be a time-saving blessings. Now for some minor tips. Make a list. Physical, digital, whatever. Make a list to keep track of the crowns you still need to get. It's gonna be better than constantly looking it up in-game. Take some time to get the endgame gear, Fatalis or Alatrion, whatever fits. Monsters like Cold Raytheon or Reiner Nergigante can easily obliterate you in one fell swoop if you have too weak of an armor. If you're doing a lot of investigations or solo hunts in a row, remember to return to camp rather than HQ. This will save you a ton of time on the loading screens and waiting for the quest to load. There doesn't seem to be much difference between high rank and master rank investigations, unless my research was flawed. I don't think low rank investigations can yield fruitful results, but take that with a grain of salt. If you have a choice between a high rank and master rank variant of the monster, just go with high rank. Farm investigations if you have to, but killing 20 monsters in high rank will take infinitely less time than in master rank. Just keep to high rank and master rank and you should be golden. Guiding Lens can apparently help to spawn bigger monsters, but I'm relying on the accounts of others rather than myself. I've also seen in a lot of places that 20-minute investigations, 15-minute investigations, investigations with only one feint have higher chance of crowns. However, I couldn't find the statistical confirmation for that nowhere, so I don't know how to treat it. Considering that the crown hunting will be probably your last endeavor and you will have the trust of all the Grimalkin tribes, Whenever you see a Boa Boa or Gaialaka ready to help you, do not hesitate to lure monsters to them. Not only they will add a nice damage boost to speed up the hunt, but will also immobilize the monster for a good while, letting you charge up your most devastating attack or just regroup, retreat, sharpen, recover before re-engaging. And if you're playing on PS4, remember to do these two quests. 3 crowns less to worry about. Okay, but other than crowns, capture monsters. It's as simple as that. Quicker finish of the fight, less waiting post-hunt. I was too stubborn to do this either, but this can save a lot of time when it comes down to it. And join multiplayer quests, send guild cards, look up treasures and arena quests, and arm yourself with utterly ungodly amounts of patience. Doing the whole platinum journey in one go, yeah, good luck, you're definitely gonna need it. I barely got through it with 4 years of jumping in and out and still love the game. I highly recommend doing this in chunks, and if you ever feel tired of doing it, yeah, I think it's better to take a break than to develop hate for this wonderful game. In the description you can find all of the relevant links I used to learn about the crowns, percentage chances, etc., as well as gaming with Abyss playlists. If you're playing on PC, I'm sure there are mods to make crown hunting much easier, but since I cannot vouch for them myself, please look out and use them as your own discretion and safety. This has been a long journey, and I definitely need a rest to recover after this monotonous task. This was Sparrow, thank you for staying until the end. Do not forget to like and comment if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time in the Gaming Nest. Love ya!